Next on episode 19. So, folks, I went to go meet my friends in Colorado where we stayed in the Manitou Springs area, which is just outside of Colorado Springs and just south of Woodland Springs. Met my friends after camping the night at the Grizzly Creek Overlook, and then in the morning it was a 3-hour drive from there, and I met them at Garden of the Gods. It was about 65 degrees there, but it was beautiful. We got to take some pictures. It is free to get into this park, so it's well worth going to go check it out. Then we took a drive up to Pikes Peak, which is 14,115 feet in elevation. It was 65 degrees before we took the drive up, and when we got up there it was about 30 degrees. So just a reminder, it's going to be a little chilly and a little windy. Next day we went on and we did Manitou Incline. It is a moderate to advanced height, 2,000 feet in elevation gain in less than a mile. So it's not for the faint of heart. So be ready for it. And then we went to the Hellen Hunt Waterfalls to check that out, which was just outside of Colorado Springs on the west side. And then the next day I did a 10-hour ride back to Las Vegas. Great time. And this is On the Rhodes. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are at episode 19, folks. Episode 19. Welcome back. I'm coming back fast as I can because this weekend was just incredible. Went to Manitou Springs, Colorado. Hung out with my friends. Just a little background on me and my friends. I have mentioned them before, Pam and Carl. Oh man, we had such a good time. Last time me, Pam, and Carl did a vacation together, I believe I told you we did South Dakota. We did Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse. We spent about 4 days out there. That was when I was still fully retired. Such a great time we had there. So we upped the ante. There was a lot of talk about this. When I went back to New Jersey on a trip, Pam had told me she wanted to do Manitou Springs Incline. She showed me some pictures of it, told me to watch it on YouTube. It looked really intense, but the area looked amazing. Looked like a lot of fun. After some planning and talking about it, we brought that trip to fruition. They flew out Thursday. I got done work Thursday morning, grabbed a shower, already had the car packed up. It was an 11-hour drive, boom, out to Colorado. The funny thing about it, it was Colorado's equivalent of maybe like a monsoon. There was very unstable weather. It would either rain, snow its ass off, or it would hail. I was going to camp the whole time, but the weather was so unpredictable. When I was putting the route in for the drive, it was giving me the southern route, which added another hour and a half of driving. I would have had to go down through, I think we talked about it, had to go down through Albuquerque, up through Santa Fe, Las Vegas, New Mexico. There is a Las Vegas in New Mexico. I would have had to drive that way because the northern route that I wanted to take was on I-70. And there was a couple of mountain passes, and you had to go up in an elevation as high as 10,000 feet on these mountain passes. It was spitting out weather warnings, need chains. In Colorado, if you don't have an all-wheel drive and your tires aren't all-weather or snow tires, state law requires that you have chains. I don't have any chains. I would have had to buy chains to do this northern drive. Wednesday before I left, I'm at work and I'm talking to my buddy Mark, and I put it in the GPS about 11 o'clock at night, and it said smooth sailing. I was like, okay, I'm going to take the northern route. The northern route did not disappoint. It was amazing. Anybody that lives in Las Vegas, if you're going to Colorado, you're going to the Colorado Springs area, Denver, take the northern route. I mean, once I got into Colorado, most of my drive was right beside the Colorado River. I actually camped on the Colorado River in Glenwood Springs at the Grizzly Creek Overlook is where I was at. I got in my car. I drove about like 7.5 hours. I had 3 more hours of driving in the next morning. So I was tired. I was up nearly 24 hours. I went ahead and got off there and camped. And it was me, another camper van, and maybe another car or two came during the night. Steps away, get out my car and walk across the parking lot down this little hill. It was the Colorado. I'm going to post the pictures up there and so you guys can see it. Yeah, I went there, camped, made my way to Manitou Springs. So the plan was get there Friday, which I did. Then we were going to do the incline on Saturday, which we did. And then Sunday, I was going to hang out for a little bit, which I did. But I was going to break up my drive back home into 2 days. I remembered that I would be gaining an hour driving back to Nevada. We had breakfast. I rolled out and I gave it the big old push. I was back in Las Vegas before sundown on a Sunday. There it is, Under the Sea Pottery. My friend Pam. Go check her out online, Under the Sea Pottery. Okay, so anyway, Friday I get to Manitou Springs, and they were staying in Woodland. So we were maybe 20, 25 minutes away from each other. Wasn't that far away. They were at Garden of the Gods. And they were like, yeah, we want to go, we can meet you there. Let us know what's going on. I said, how about I go to my motel and ask them, can I park my car? And then you guys can come get me. We'll go hang out. Well, come to find out, this motel is called Villa Motel, Manitou Springs Ave. It's right outside of the heart of Manitou, right on the main drag there. Gotta go check them out. The stay was incredible. Newly renovated rooms. The hot tub was going in case you want a hot tub. Continental breakfast, all kinds of snacks and everything that you wanted. The staff was top notch. Shout out to you guys. I had an amazing time. I ended up locking myself out of the room when we got back from the incline. I wanted to come out and stand on the balcony and do a update on what's going on the incline. Here I come out the door. Clunk, clunk, close the door. I had just taken off a lot of my hiking gear and emptied my pockets. Guess what? The key was in the room. But shout out to the staff. I went right to the office and they gave me a new key with no problem. They picked me up. We go to Garden of the Gods. Garden of the Gods. Oh my goodness. It is so amazing. It's a free park. It was less than a mile away from the hotel. And out in the distance, we could see the Manitou Incline and Pikes Peak. That's another thing. The views from my motel, Pikes Peak, when you're in the hot tub, Pikes Peak was right there. So you get to see it right in front of you. But the weather just turned beautiful. Before we went out there, it was somewhere around 65 during the day. And at night, they had frost warnings. It was going down to the low 30s. I was concerned. I was going to camp my whole time there. I found some cool camp spots in Manitou in the area, but they said at night it was going to be frost. I get out there. You could wear shorts during the day. At night, it went down in the 40s, so I could have camped because when I camped at Grizzly Creek, it was 43 degrees, but it was warm in my car. When I stepped out in the morning and after I got dressed and everything, I had a hoodie in the beginning, but man, it was awesome. I could have camped. The motel room was not that expensive, so I went ahead and got the motel room. Once we did a little bit of Garden of the Gods, they had a cafe in the Garden of the Gods. I heard the food's incredible. We didn't get any food. We got a couple of beverages there, which I was needed because I didn't get a lot of sleep driving. I think when I got to camp, it was just getting dark. So it was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Pam and Carl got up, got dressed, and went and got breakfast. I was 3 hours away. I told them, go on without me. They were at Garden of the Gods, and they gracefully waited for me to get to Manitou. We could hook up and have fun. But we went there, we went and had a couple of beverages, and then we decided to drive up Pikes Peak. Oh my God. The weather cooperated again. It snowed the day before. I think they got 5 or 6 inches of snow on the mountain. It's 14,115 feet in elevation. It's up there, but there was snow. We looked at the reports. They said, "Yeah, it's smooth sailing. Let's drive." It took us maybe about an hour and 15 minutes or so to drive to the top of it. That's with stopping and taking pictures. We did stop at a gift shop that was up there, but man, what a drive. If you get a chance, drive up the top of Pikes Peak. They have a railroad that you could take a train to the top. It's a 3 hour extravaganza. We did see the train up there. It's better to drive. It's not for the faint of it's not for the faint of heart. If you have a problem with going up there, heights and all that stuff, is probably not for you. Nonetheless, I would take the drive up. It was beautiful up there. There was a lot of snow up there. We saw people skiing. They were hiking or driving and then skiing down these hills, which was really, really cool. And Carl and Pam used to be skiers. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We got to see that when we were driving up the mountain. This one thing about Colorado, the sun is strong because you're a little bit up in elevation. It could be 60 degrees, but still you're wearing shorts and you have to wear sunscreen because the sun will tear you up. It was in high 60s when we at the base of the mountain. Once we got up there, it was in the 30s. It was cold. And Carl had on shorts and a t-shirt. It was a little bit windy up there, not as windy as it usually is, but out in the distance. Oh my God, the Rocky Mountains were out in the distance. I've seen them from an airplane. You look out the airplane and the pilot's like, "There's the Rocky Mountains down below you, ladies and gentlemen. We are now currently flying over Colorado." You look down and you see the Rockies, but man, they were so beautiful. It looked like it was floating. I will put a picture up. You really can't see them. If you look hard or zoom in, you can see them. But man, it was crazy. So we went up there. There's a halfway point when you're driving up Pikes Peak. What they do at the halfway point, but I'm getting ahead of myself. When you get there and you pay, and it's per person, I think it's $18 a person in the car. You can't do car loads. They look and see how many people are in the car. But they make sure you have at least a half a tank of gas. On the way down, they want you to be in low gear. There's a halfway point. If the road is closed 8 and they tell you got to turn around, it's the halfway point, and they have a place where you can go get drinks and things like that at the halfway point. On the way down, and you stop at the halfway point, they check your brakes because people they don't know how to use that low gear, and they cook their brakes. Sorry about that. On the way down, you stop and they have this device that checks your brakes. I think they check the temperature, and if the temperature's too high, they make you pull over. They tell you how long you have to sit there until you can continue on down the hill. But we were in low gear. Carl's good at it. We were good to go under the sea potter. That was a good time. Then after that, shout out to Manitou Brewery. So we were looking for a place to go. We go to Manitou Brewery. It's right in the heart of Manitou. And another thing about Manitou as well, most of the parking is paid. You're not going to find too much free parking. I think I paid $10 for my parking. It's said on the motel website, but to be determined. I don't know if I really paid the $10 or not a day to park. But you have to pay to park everywhere. We paid, park, a little bit of walking distance. We go in the brewery. It was so much fun. The burger, chef's kiss. The beer was cold, had some local beer. We just had a great time just downloading, preparing ourselves. Pam is a rucker. Pam rucks. She usually uses a 10-pound pack when she goes on her ruck. But to prepare for the Manitou, she ended up getting a 20-pound ruck, and she was ready. She came to play. Pam was on a mission. Come hell or high water, Pam was going to make this climb. And with Mother's Day and her son passing and her mother recently passing, this was so personal for her. And I'll tell you what, I can't stop saying it, how proud I am of her. She set out to do this thing and she just kicked ass. It was an emotional thing. But Pam, I'm so happy for you. And we'll get into that in a little. After we had our burgers and we sat around and we formulated our plan. The staff knew we were tourists and we talked to some people who had did the incline and they were so supportive. It was like, you guys would be fine. I didn't even train for it. My hip was hurting, but my hip was top notch when I got to Colorado. I didn't have any issues with it. But you're up in elevation, and then this Manitou incline has 2,000 feet of elevation gain in less than a mile. I think it's 0.8. They have places, they call them the bailout. They have a couple places along the route where if you can't make it, you can hike back down the mountain or you can walk back down the steps. They have them along the way. For motivation, they have little placards on the steps that let how far you're progressing in your walk. So we sat down, we strategized and talked about how we were going to attack these steps. They dropped me off. I bought all kinds of stuff there. I had Cliff bars, I had Kodiak bars, I had Boost portable oxygen, I had gel packs, I had all this stuff. I had like a 10-pound rock on my back, which I shouldn't have done. I had bananas, water, all this stuff to try to make my experience on the incline worth it. Everybody gets a good night's sleep. They hit me up. They were able to park across the street. One thing about going to Manitou Incline, you have to get there early. There's a couple of parking lots there, and it's pay to park. I think it's like $10 to park. But if you don't get there in time, you're just going to be hell finding a parking space. So we decided to go ahead. Excuse me. So we decided to park and jump on the bus. The shuttle is free. It's the 33 shuttle. It took us from our motel, Pam and Carl. We walked across the street and jumped on the shuttle. And a 10-minute drive because it's right there. Once you come out of my motel room and you walk across the parking lot, you look, this thing was smiling at us the whole time. We went to Manitou Brewing Company. We could see the incline. Garden of the Gods, see the incline. So you could see it out in the distance. And it looked intimidating until you got there. It didn't look as intimidating. But anyway, jumped on the shuttle, get off. Pam's friend Donna and her daughter had flew in from the East Coast. Pam and them are from PA. They flew in as well. We all meet, and I'm taking pictures. You'll see the picture. A picture next to, Manitou Incline Base Camp. I'm ready to go. It's go time. I'm over there stretching, getting myself ready. After we got done taking the pictures, boom, off we go. Shout out to Carl for taking pictures. Number two, shout out to Carl for hanging back. Carl had just gotten um, knee surgery a few months prior. That was an ambitious undertaking anyway. Carl looked good. He was ready. Carl was killing it. I get on these steps and we got walking sticks and all that stuff. I'd say after 100 steps, I was already sucking for breath. I was fighting for my life on this incline. When we got there, 30 or 40 people we were all together. People even spurred. So the people that were on our shuttle pushed off because we waited for Donna and we were pretty much by ourselves in the beginning. But Pam and Donna and Donna's daughter took off and they kept turning around. I could tell Pam was in the zone. So me and Carl just said, go, go. I told Carl to go as well. 2,700 steps is this thing. But I told Carl to go. And Carl, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Like, I love you to death for staying. Carl stayed. Carl motivated me. And the people on the incline were so motivating. We met so many people from all over and a lot of Colorado people. The people from Colorado, there was a whole bunch of people that were in shape. Some of the people are like, yeah, I'm going up for the second time. Another guy, he was coming down. I'll tell you about the 1,800 step trail that you could take down. At the 1,800 step, out of 2,700 plus steps, this guy he was going up, hiking down the mountain, and then coming back in that way and going back up. He was on number 3 when we were talking to him. And then what you do when you go up there, because of the 2,000 foot elevation gain, it gets intense. You're going like this, and then you're going like this, and you'll see it in the pictures. Colorado people, they're just like, man, we're just walking up a mountain, and they do it because they're used to the altitude. I would suggest, if you come out, maybe before you do the incline, be around for a couple of days and do some stuff to try to acclimate to the altitude. Because if you're prone to getting altitude sickness, you'll get a headache and you'll start feeling like shit. I don't get altitude sickness. I was a mile high the whole weekend. You're up there in elevation. Um, I didn't get any altitude sickness, but man, I was sucking for air. So I think after the first couple of hundred steps, I went to oxygen. I pulled out the boost and started sucking oxygen. I'm over there fighting for my life. Carl's feeling good. He's looking good. He's not even breathing heavy. He's he's kind of laughing at me. And I kept telling him, I said, brother, you can just go, man. I was like, I'm good. He was like, nah, Donovan, I'm going to stick with you. So we just hung in there, just kept at it. We would stop every now and then. I tried to get some snacks. I was cramping a little bit. I was trying to drink as much water as I can. And Carl, I'm offering Carl, yo, you want a Cliff Bar? Yo, you want a sip of water? I got an extra bottle of water. He's like, no, I'm good. A warrior. He was ready to play. But we made it to about 1,800 steps, and Carl's knees started swelling up a little bit. Once you get to the 1,800 steps, there's what they call the bailout. There's a trail, and it says, okay, they have 2 signs. It says to hike down, it's an out. To summit this thing, it's an out. Once you decide that you're not going to do the 1,800 bailout and you're going to try to summit this thing, because there's a false summit. Once you get up to the top there's what you call a false summit, and then there's more steps to get to the top. Once you get past the bailout, only way you can come back is come back down the steps or summit. There's only from 1,800 to 2,700. You have some decisions to make. Initially, Carl was going to go up, and he said, yeah, I'm going to go to the false summit and then I'll come back down. But people were telling him, yeah, once you get the false summit, you have to go all the way up, or you have to come back down the steps to get where Donovan is. And shortly thereafter, Pam called, and Pam was at the top. Pam, I'm so proud of you. Damn, Pam. Under the sea pottery, Pam. But it was an emotional thing. She made it. I'm so glad she made it. Took her a little bit closer to her son and her mom. Because when you're up there, especially when we're in Pikes Peak, it just felt like we were that much closer to heaven. I got a Heineken, and shout out to Pops, had a Heineken. And when we were at Pikes Peak, all I could think about was my dad, because when I did the nationwide trip, Colorado was pretty much my last stop before I went back to Vegas. I was going to do all these national parks, and I saw the Rocky Mountains, and only thing I could think about in that moment was my dad. I went back, and at Pikes Peak at the top of the Rocky Mountains, and just seeing these mountains, and they looked like they were floating. It just looked like we were in heaven. And all I could think about was Pop. All I could think about was you, Dad. Man, just got so emotional. But yeah, she made it to the top. So we had to wait about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes from her to come off the summit and hike back down to 1,800 steps, so all of us could go back down together. And she waited at the top for Donna and her daughter. And once they all got back together, they have benches at 1,800. They got benches, and people that are not going to do it are standing there. And then you got people coming on that are actually hiking up instead of doing the steps. They'd rather hike the trail, because the trail's 3 miles up to the top of the steps. It's a 3-mile hike. We had to hike an hour down, but we were out there hanging out, waiting for Pam and them. After Pam and them came in, it was like, okay, yeah, let's get ready to walk down. Pam and Donna Ruck. Donna's daughter is 21 years old, so she's still young. We all get in this line. Who's leading? It was like, oh, you guys lead. Next thing you know, they were gone. It was me and Carl again, and Carl's knee it was tightening up. It swelled up, but we didn't think this hike down was going to end. And at some point, we heard water because there's a waterfall somewhere, and it was about an hour though. We were coming down. We had fun coming down. We talked for a little bit. Then the shit got serious. We were like, "Fuck that! We're just let's get our asses down this mountain." We got down to the end of the mountain. We went to a place called the Townhouse in Manitou. We did a little shopping. Pam got this awesome zip up. I got a t-shirt. Of course, I had to go to the crystal store. I got some awesome crystals. And then we go to this place called the Townhouse. Shout out to the server. She was awesome. I got a couple of more subscribers there. Shout out to my man from Wichita. Pleasure to meet you. You're checking out the channel. Thanks for looking at the podcast and the support. We appreciate you. I only had fries because I was eating so much shit going up the mountain. I'm gel packing, trying to stop the cramps. I'm eating Cliff bars. The food was great. The drinks were cold. We hung out for a little bit. They dropped me off at the motel at 2:00 in the afternoon. We started about 7. This adventure, I think 6:30 we caught. 6:00 in the morning, we caught the shuttle. We get to the incline. We start just around 7:00. And with the hike down and food, we were probably back. They were dropping me off at 2. We didn't go out. We didn't go out Saturday. We didn't go nowhere. After we did what we did, we had some celebratory drinks. We talked a lot. We had so much fun. And after that, man, we talked about breakfast because it was Pam's special day, Mother's Day, Donna's day, Mother's Day. We all decided to meet for breakfast before I drove back. But we went to this place and it's where Pam and Carl were staying. It was so good. I got the cheese omelet and 2 pancakes and some orange juice. We just sat around and talked, and we had uh, a lot of fun trying to plan our next trip. I think we're going to do Moab. We were talking about Glacier, but Pam's going to be busy with Under the Sea. Pam's going to be busy with the pottery business. So we were talking about Glacier. But the thing about Glacier, you have to go during the summer months because Rising to the Sun Road only opens for a limited time because you're high up in elevation. You're up near Canada. So this road snows out most of the year. And there's a few months that you can go and you can drive the road. So it looks like we're going to do Moab. I've been to Moab. I'm going to do a podcast on Moab because I still got so many places to show you guys. We're on episode 19 right now, and I've been to 39 national parks. You got to come along for the ride. And in the middle of that, we're going to have guests on and different people talking about other subjects. We got a lot of content. And with me doing these trips, like this weekend trip, I just stuck this episode. I thought it was a must. I got to stick this episode in. You'll get to see that. But nonetheless, we're probably going to go to Moab. Moab's beautiful. There's Canyonlands, Arches National Park, and then there's another one out there. But we're going to go to Moab, have a good time. A lot of spiritual energy in Moab. Beautiful drives, scenic stuff, Colorado River. And I did pass the Moab exit on the way home off of I-70. That's how I went to Moab when I took my Moab trip. It was not too far from Vegas, and they won't have any problem flying in. So that'll be a good time. We'll have some fun with that. I have so much more to tell you about this trip, but I would just be going on and on and on. Villa Motel, make sure you check it out. They said that they have better deals on their website, but just top-notch staff really bent over backwards to help me out. And the room was very nice. The bed was comfortable. It had everything I needed. They have, just, your standard Keurig in there. If you want to make I made a little cup of coffee to have with my Danish that I got from the continental breakfast. They have bagels in there and things like that for you. The office is open in the morning at 7 a.m. to 9. If you're coming out to Colorado and you check in their hotel, just know that they close at 9 and you have to check in prior to that. As far as downtown Manitou, sidewalks roll up after a certain hour. I think the latest something stays open is 10, a little later. But for the most part, things close early out there, so be mindful of that. You'll have to go into Colorado Springs. Close to Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is right next door. We actually went to a waterfalls called Hellen Hunt Waterfalls. That was so much fun. The drive there, I think it was 25 minutes to drive through the Red Rocks and all that out in the Colorado Springs. So if you want to take in some nightlife, you're going to have to do Colorado Springs. We didn't get to do a lot of Colorado Springs things. They have the Olympic museum there, Olympic and Paralympic Museum. I don't know if you know this. Probably everybody does know. But Colorado was big as far as the Olympics, and Lance Armstrong, that's where he trained when he was like the Tour de France guy. It's a beautiful area. Colorado is beautiful. If it wasn't for the snow and the elevation, I could see myself being there. It's expensive too. It wasn't expensive in Manitou. Some places were, but it didn't break the bank. We were able to find our little slices of heaven and have some fun and eat and drink. So, guys, thank you once again. One last thing before I go. Thanks everybody who have purchased merch. I'm going to be mailing out some more tomorrow. Tracy, your stuff's coming. Lisa, yours is coming. I'm going to hit the post office and send your t-shirts and stickers coming right at you. If you do want a t-shirt, t-shirts, I have them in black and white colorways. The t-shirts are $25. If you want a hoodie and hold on to it until it gets cold, that's $35. You'll see in some of the pictures, I was wearing a hoodie. The hoodie is very comfortable. Elle wore her hoodie the other day at work, and she loved it. So if you're interested in merch, just let me know. If there's anything else you'd like to see as far as my merch, something you might be interested in, hats, anything, I'll look into buying them. And nobody got the answer about what is 98% of the time, what am I wearing in the podcast? Nobody got it. So I guess I'm going to have to move on to the next question. I'll figure out what question it is. I'm not going to make these questions easy because so many of you know me so effing well. So I'm going to have to come up with something that would even be hard for my inner circle. All right, folks, that's it. I will catch you on the next one. This has been On the Rhodes. The motel I stayed at, if you come out to the Manitou Springs area, make sure you come check out this hotel. Right in the back, you got Pikes Peak and the incline as well. The hospitality was great. The beds were comfortable. The rooms are renovated and modern. So make this part of your trip if you can. There it is, Villa Motel.